everyone, welcome back to Rock Security, where you can learn how to protect yourself online and get insights into the cybersecurity world. If you're new here, my name is Roxana, and today we're going to talk about public Wi-Fi attacks. Let's get into it. Before we begin, please don't forget to subscribe, click the notification bell so you get notified next time I post a new video, and like this video if you enjoy it, and comment down below if you knew about any of these 5 things. Let's get into the 5 most common cyber attacks on the public Wi-Fi. Number 1, fake Wi-Fi, evil twins, and man-in-the-middle attacks. Fake Wi-Fi access points or evil twins, kind of the same thing, and man-in-the-middle attacks. It's technically people pretending to be a legitimate Wi-Fi router or service or whatever you want to call them. For example, imagine that you go to the airport to travel somewhere when you want to. Well, you can now, but anyway, imagine you do that and you get to the airport and guess what? There's no reception and you want to go and surf on Instagram because you're bored for an hour and a half. Obviously, who got prepared to watch offline movies on Netflix? No one in this world, especially if you have a Mac. Ain't that happening anytime soon. Let me tell you, the struggle is real. So what do? You go into your Wi-Fi and you select the airport Wi-Fi. A lot of the times that airport Wi-Fi is truly legitimate. You go, you select it, you put in your numbers, whatever they're asking you to do. It connects you to the internet. It's not that great of a quality, but anyway, you got to the internet, you can scroll through your Instagram feed for an hour and a half. The plane comes, you get into the plane and you fly away. Done. Easy, right? Well, that access point might be fake or might have an evil twin that can be named the same. I personally don't think that you can do much to protect you from this, because honestly, you can go and get a coffee and connect to the Starbucks free Wi-Fi, and that's the same thing. You can go into a restaurant and connect to their free Wi-Fi, whereas like the next table, there's an actual attacker with their tiny device that's technically producing a Wi-Fi signal. You're like, oh my god, this is amazing, I have full bar. Awesome. And then he collects all your information and steals all your data. Easy. Honestly, he doesn't need that much to get that information out of you. Especially, he can read everything. If you connect to his network, he can read everything. The next video that I'm gonna do after this is best practices on public Wi-Fi, so watch out for that. Man in the middle, it's kind of the same thing, except you still get to the access point, the legitimate access point. So technically, when you connect to the Wi-Fi, you connect to the illegitimate Wi-Fi, and then that illegitimate Wi-Fi connects you to the final page. It's kind of going through a tunnel, and this tunnel is created by a hacker that reads all the data that you send through the internet and does bad things. I will make a video on the man-in-the-middle attack that can happen in many other forms, not just on public Wi-Fi, but watch out for that. And for now, be aware of that. Number 2, packet sniffing. Packet sniffing is happening usually on a public Wi-Fi that's very, very poorly secured or is running on very outdated hardware. If they use WPA, if they use WEP, usually older pieces of hardware that are not very secured and so on. And what the attackers can do, they literally connect to that Wi-Fi fairly easily because they're usually free Wi-Fi, and they sniff. They can read all the data and they can sniff all the data, and they're happy and exploiting the data that they gathered from that. A research by Kaspersky Lab in 2016 showed more than a quarter of public Wi-Fi hotspots set up in malls were insecure. A quarter, yes, and lacked even basic security controls. A quarter did not encrypt traffic at all, while research conducted by SkyCure showed that 5 of the 10 busiest malls in USA had risky Wi-Fi network. This is a quote from an article that I read, that I got all these things from. One mall in Las Vegas was discovered to be operating 14 risky Wi-Fi access points. Hackers can use packet sniffers to intercept traffic on encrypted Wi-Fi networks. Packet sniffing is one of the most common wireless attacks. It's just like watching a movie for free. Easy, very, 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 very easy. And it happens on networks that are outdated, they don't use WPA2 encrypted traffic. I want you to be aware of it and what you do actually on public Wi-Fi and so on. Watch out for my next video. You will find it very, very, very useful. These are just the attacks. The next one, it's a bit more operational done than this, because people don't just show up in a mall, figure it out, sniff everything, go away, be happy, have a McDonald's on the way, because they were in the mall, so might as well, you know.
I mean, one mall has McDonald's, because there are malls who don't have McDonald's installed, and you know, nothing against that or anything like that, but not that I'm like sad about it.
Number 3, Wardriving. This is a bit fun and kind of comes from a spy movie, but it's true and people do it. Wardriving, I'm gonna quote what the article is saying and then we'll talk about it. Wardriving is a technique used to identify and map vulnerable access points. The name comes from the fact that attackers drive around a neighborhood and use a laptop with GPS device antenna to identify and record the location of wireless networks. The technique is effective since many Wi-Fi networks used by businesses extend beyond the confines of the building and poor security controls are applied to secure those networks. You know those apps that you can see free Wi-Fi on and you can find free access points on and stuff like that? Honestly, kind of the same, except they are driving around to find those things, they're mapping them out, and this can be one stage in their bigger plan in accesses businesses network and data and, you know, get money out of them and so many different things. And honestly, it can be done in very, very wealthy neighborhoods where very big businesses are, and you know, if they think that they're in a secure neighborhood, there are many ways of figuring those things out, especially because smaller businesses in particular don't put that much emphasis on securing their Wi-Fi. They just install a Wi-Fi and they tick the box that says free Wi-Fi for our customers, and they don't do anything beyond that. So if you work in a small business, please make sure that you secure your Wi-Fi, your free Wi-Fi. You separate those things from the normal Wi-Fi that you use for your employees from the public Wi-Fi, and make sure you research more and secure your Wi-Fi within the company, please. And also in the same category, 4, Warshipping. Warshipping is a more effective method of attacking Wi-Fi networks. It allows attacks to be conducted remotely, even if the attacker is not within the range of a Wi-Fi network. And this is where the fun begins. The tactic was explained by IBM X-Force researchers at Black Hat USA, which is the biggest cybersecurity conference in the world. They used cheap, under $100, and easy to obtain components to create a single board computer with Wi-Fi and 3G capabilities that runs on a cell phone battery. Fairly small, fairly easy to implement. The device can be used to locally connect to the Wi-Fi network and sends information back to the attackers via a 3G cellular connections. They're also explaining that this type of device can go into packages, plants, teddy bears, honestly, anything, you name it. They can just stuff it in there, package it, send it somewhere, and you know, it's very easily, because the world is so connected. We can literally ship things around the world anywhere that we want. And sometimes in companies, packages get stored in places and have access to certain areas of the building. Nobody can have access except those packages. Honestly, what they can do after getting access to these type of Wi-Fi's, the sky's the limit. They can do anything. I know it's a bit scary and it kind of comes from a spy movie, but these type of things have happened in the world, and they can send hashed data that the attackers can make sense of and dehash. So as long as the company has their Wi-Fi networks encrypted, you should be fine. Fifth one is MAC spoofing. Many businesses use MAC filtering to prevent specific devices from connecting to their Wi-Fi networks. While this is useful for preventing individuals from taking advantage of free Wi-Fi for customers, this method of blocking users can be easily bypassed. It is easy to spoof a MAC address and bypass this filtering control. So technically, a lot of businesses do put MAC filtering in place. But it's very easy for an attack to bypass that thing because they can just pretend they are the legitimate MAC address and be able to get into the network and kind of cheat the system in a way. It's technically putting a wig and some glasses and pretending to be somewhere else, but digitally. Take it as it is. Some examples of public Wi-Fi's being hacked is, for example, the in-flight Wi-Fi network that has been hacked from the ground. Remember that? It was a big thing. We all laughed about it. Quite serious. Tel Aviv free Wi-Fi network was hacked. I'm gonna put the article that I'm reading from down below. It's really interesting to go through it. And so many other examples. Honestly, you can just Google public Wi-Fi hacked and it's so easy. There's so many examples in the world for big companies as well. Right, awesome. That is it from me today. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and click the notification bell so you get notified when I post a new video. Follow me on Instagram for more security news and more security information and a bit of interaction with me. Don't be shy. And very important, don't forget to stay safe, protect yourself and protect your devices, and I'll see you next week with a brand new video. Bye. I didn't have it in